Yes.
Okay, we're going to start it on the planning board meeting today on January 5th, 2023. Statement of adequate notice. Under the Sunshine Law, adequate notice in accordance with the Open Public Meeting Act was provided on December 24, 2022 of this meeting's date, time, and location. The agenda was mailed to the Cranberry Press and Trenton Times, posted on the Township Bulletin Board, mailed requesting personal notice, and filed with the municipal clerk. Roll call, Ms. El Badawi. Here. Mr. Ferrante.
Here.
Mr. Gallagher.
Here.
Mr. Giddings.
Here.
Ms. Jones.
Here.
Ms. Spahn.
Here.
Mr. Stewart.
Here.
Mr. Whitman.
Here.
And Mr. Kaiser, not here. Thank you. We have a quorum. Okay, so I would like to open up this meeting to nominations for chair for the 2023 year.
I'd like to nominate Mike Kaiser for chairman. Right, the guy that's not here. And I have spoken to Mike Kaiser, and I know other people have spoken to him, and he has expressed an interest to be chair.
Too late if you did.
Yeah, that's right. And he's not here, so
I really was just kidding. I spoke to Mr. Kaiser as well to see if he would like to continue, and he does. So I will second your nomination.
Thank you. Is there any other nominations at this time for planning board chair 2023? Okay, seeing no other nominations. Chair, Michael Kaiser for chair. Roll call. Ms. El Badawi. Mr. Ferrante.
Yes.
Mr. Gallagher.
Yes.
Mr. Giddings.
Yes.
Ms. Jones.
Yes.
Ms. Spahn.
Yes.
Mr. Stewart.
Yes.
And Mr. Whitman.
yes.
Thank you. Motion passed. Okay. At this time, I would like to open the floor to nominations for vice chair for 2023.
I'm happy to nominate Mr. Whitman. Second.
Thank you. All right. Any other nominations for vice chair at this time? All right, seeing none. Floor is closed for vice chair nominations. So Wayne Whitman for vice chair. Roll call. Ms. El Badawi. Mr. Ferrante.
Yes.
Mr. Gallagher.
Yes.
Mr. Giddings.
Yes.
Ms. Jones.
Yes.
Ms. Spahn.
Yes.
Mr. Stewart.
Yes.
And Mr. Whitman.
Yes.
Thank you.
And thank you for your support.
Thank you.
Okay, at this point in time, now I can take over as chair since Mike is absent. So I would like to make a nomination for the board secretary. I'd like to nominate Robin
Tilden.
Tilden, yes, as our board secretary for the year 2023. Can I have a motion to approve that?
Wait a second.
Yes,
Second.
Thank you.
I made the motion.
Yeah, you second.
All right. Thank you. Roll call. Ms. El Badawi. Mr. Ferrante.
Yes.
Mr. Gallagher.
Yes.
Mr. Giddings.
Yes.
Ms. Jones.
Yes.
Ms. Spahn.
Yes.
Mr. Stewart.
Yes.
And Mr. Whitman.
Yes.
Thank you so much, everyone.
You
Motion
got
passed.
Ms. Chalou, I will take this moment to say that in the last year, you have handled some very difficult and long planning board applications. And your minutes are just spectacular. And it takes a lot to make it a little. So thank you very much. And your professionalism and in your support, even changing my email today and doing all of that. You're just very, very on it, and I just appreciate having you on this board to keep us all on task.
I appreciate you. Thank you so much. All right, Bruce.
Okay, next agenda on the business is the nomination and elections and appointments of our board professionals. I want to make a comment on this in that our board professionals provide an invaluable service to this board as well as other boards within the town. And without your help, we couldn't do our job. Given that as a day, we went through a process at the end of last year where we went out for bid. This isn't a rubber stamp by all means. We did go out for bid and everybody provided information, and we did make a decision at the end of the year on who to approve to come back on the board. So you're all here, obviously you're on, but I'm gonna read off the names of the different people so that it's official. So, and then we'll ask for a, right. So for our township attorney, we have Sharon Dragon, Elizabeth Leahy as our professional planner, David Yoder as our board engineer, Thomas Deckard as our board's conflict engineer, Andrew Ferenda as our board's traffic consultant, and David Honer as our board's conflict traffic engineer. So with that being said, can I have somebody make a motion to approve these appointments? Or what did I not do?
It does.
Yes.
I don't know how that came out with the
Yeah.
hustle and bustle, but yes.
Please,
it
yeah,
definitely
please,
does.
yeah, I'm sorry, you did the correction. This one here, without. Don't look at that one.
Yeah, that one's an error.
It's a proposal, not really bidding.
Right.
Professional.
Proposal, right.
And can we just confirm names? Is it Dragon?
Dragon,
Dragon.
okay,
I think Dragon would not be very,
Dragon. Okay,
okay. Dragon and Laney. And Hoder, not to be confused with Horner.
not Yoder. I didn't say Yoder, did I? If I did, I apologize.
And Andy, we gotcha. All right.
I'm just gonna say everybody's first name, makes it easier, so. So can I have a motion to approve this?
So moved.
Is there a second?
A second.
Secretary.
Sure. Roll call, Ms. Elbadawi.
Yeah.
Mr. Ferrante,
Yes.
Mr. Gallagher,
Yes.
Mr. Giddings,
Yes.
Ms. Jones, Ms. Spahn,
Yes.
Mr. Stewart,
Yes.
and Mr. Whitman.
Yes.
Thank you, motion passed.
You're welcome. So the next item on the agenda is the planning board representatives to the design development review committee. Now, last year, there was myself, Ms. Vaughn, Mr. Kaiser, and Mr. Gallagher as an alternate. So what I would like to propose this year is I believe Ms. Elbadawi would want it to be on the design review or development review committee. I think Mr. Kaiser he made it an interest to me that he wanted to still serve as the chair on that. And I think Ms. Spahn had indicated that she would like to be on that. So I think that's all we can have on that, right? And then as Mr. Gallagher as the alternate. So if that's okay with everybody, let's go with that.
You just appoint
Huh?
the chair doesn't appoint that.
Right. Okay.
Because I can no longer be on as the township committee.
Right,
No.
Ellen's gonna be the yes,
Was it called once last year?
Ellen's gonna be the class 4 member.
We didn't.
She's taking my spot, so.
Okay.
Okay, so that appointment's been made. We don't need to vote on that. The next one on the agenda is our calendar year. I don't know if everybody's had a chance to look at the calendar here. It's pretty much the first Thursday of every month.
And there was no conflict with like 4th of July or, there were a few things, but it looked like it went pretty smoothly.
Yeah.
First week of April is going to be spring break for schools and stuff.
All right, we'll have to see who may or may not be here. If we need to modify that, we'll find out in May.
Bump it down a week.
Yeah, or in March, we'll see who may or may not be here in April.
Okay.
Still gonna be-
Yeah, should we can I have a motion to pass that, please?
I'd like to move the calendar as proposed.
Is there a second? Okay.
All right, roll call, Ms. Elbadawi.
Yes.
Mr. Ferrante,
Yes.
Mr. Gallagher,
Yes.
Mr. Giddings,
Yes.
Ms. Jones, Ms. Spahn,
Yes.
Mr. Stewart,
Yes. Yes.
and Mr. Whitman.
Yes.
Thank you, motion passed.
Okay, next item on the agenda is our official newspaper for the year. And at this point in time, we are designating the Trenton Times as our official newspaper. So, can I have a motion on that?
Motion to keep Trenton Times?
All right, roll call, Ms. Elbadawi. Yes. Mr. Ferrante,
Yes.
Mr. Gallagher,
Yes.
Mr. Giddings,
Yes.
Ms. Jones,
Yes.
Ms. Bond,
Yes.
Mr. Stewart,
Yes.
and Mr. Whitman.
Yes.
Thank you, motion passed.
Just to clarify, it does list the Cranberry Press on section 4.
Secondary.
As a secretary.
Got it. Thank you.
Okay, last item is the nomination of a court reporter. And this is something new for us this year.
Here, yes.
Yes, so based on.
Why do we need a court reporter? We've never needed one.
So if there's a lawsuit, we would either need reporting or transcript, correct? So God forbid these microphones got out, which they have in the past. We have a major application, we don't have a transcript or recording.
In compliance.
Yes, so,
We would.
yeah, so any major applications, we're gonna have a court reporter here to be on the safe side. Yes,
Is this something the
that's
applicant pays for or the township?
I'm sorry.
Is it something the township or the applicant pays for? Because in the past, the applicants have often opted.
Yes, I know that that is an option. I've heard that previously. I don't believe that you guys ever did that, correct? We always have
Because I guess we always figured if the applicant was worried about it, then they would provide it.
Yeah,
Because we have the meetings that they're recorded, they're on YouTube, so.
I think that goes out like it did that one time.
Okay.
That's when it gets scary.
You
We have a
had
major
both
application
your
on it, we don't
recording
have.
and YouTube both go at the same time.
I have a recording it, yeah, YouTube Live is on right now.
They're independent, so that was just a coincidence.
Yeah, there was a catastrophic failure of the system
Yes,
with no backup,
completely went out, yes, both went out, yes.
so. Okay. So can I have a motion to approve the court reporter for major meetings coming up this year?
Could I ask a sort of?
Yep, go ahead.
Sorry, because I'm gonna say no.
Yes.
I know that everybody said
I'm
no,
gonna- I'm
I
saying
guess
no.
I just wonder if, I guess there's no way to get around this once they know that we'll do it, but I would have preferred it if, like, as a first choice, they tried and we asked the applicant. We asked the applicant to provide a lot of stuff. Is it possible to just make that an obligation of a major application that they provide that?
Great,
And then save the township some money, it's just a little.
yeah. I know some townships do that.
Do you have to do that on other applications?
We don't have-
Requiring that you.
We don't have it.
Can we,
It's your job, buddy.
should we consider drafting an ordinance? Just would approving this tonight supersede the ability for the township to create an ordinance mandating that?
No, we don't have to approve it tonight, we can table it
We
tonight.
could also table it
Yeah.
until
Yeah.
we sort out how we want to
Okay.
do it.
Yeah,
I-
that might be a better way to do it.
I'd
You
move
don't
to
have
table-
vote No.
Yeah.
We could just put it on the table right now
I
until.
never mind voting no.
No, I know that. I have no problem voting no
Um,
either, after this
Yeah.
was brought up,
Yeah,
so.
but maybe we should just see what the, other
Landscape
towns do and how it's paid for, because having, to me, it's triple, safety, and yes, that's important. I put Robin's notes against anyone, but I think that's something we should just dig in a little bit more. If I'm not sure how anyone else feels, but. I just think
No,
it's-
I think this was a good, healthy discussion. I mean, we don't, we don't want to say we don't care about spending money, but we just want to make sure that we're not inconsistent with what other towns are doing in this area.
Not every town does it.
Yeah.
Yes, I know plenty of towns do, yes.
Okay, so why don't we table this right now, and I'm gonna kick this over to the township committee to investigate this a little further, and if they wanna come up with an ordinance or something to take care of that.
Well,
By the next
you
meeting.
started to say that you don't know that it even needs to rise to the level.
We won't have an ordinance at the next meeting.
What were you saying? Well, our
No.
practice has been to
Somebody
make
did
it
the minutes.
elective. Yeah, but at their election, what we're talking about doing is saying, which apparently is not uncommon, saying that major ones are obligated to provide it as part of their service.
Every second.
Yeah, okay.
I don't know that that's true. I just don't know.
I've never heard of this name before.
I've never heard of us not paying for it. Because I've stopped signing, we've stopped signing off on our buildings. When we went to COVID, we stopped signing off to the township, we would sign off on the billings for planning boards, we stopped doing that during COVID. So I have no idea.
All right, so we kick this can down.
I think we kick it down the
All
road.
right, so we'll let the township committee, look at this and, Rob follow with.
Sorry to have created trouble.
No, but.
No trouble at
and,
all.
And once we have more information, we could also, it may not need an
Right.
ordinance, like Dominique said. Here's
Right.
our practice, here's what we do, and we just live.
You go with that, okay.
I mean,
Right.
and we also, I was going to say too, it doesn't necessarily need to be core reporting. The applicant could choose to bring a recording device of their own that would be a triple recording of the other one too. So I mean, there's other, maybe we can write it in a way that's more permissive for however the applicant wants to provide that
Yeah, I just
level
feel.
of recording.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
And when people
They
start
check.
recording things on their phone, I
Yeah,
mean,
that's not official.
the recording from the township is the official one.
That's right.
I
Whether you get-
Is we're saying this is only even something we were going to do in the future. So this isn't a store asking for a sign. This is something where this should not be a major additional expense that we're already investing into.
Yeah.
Okay. Sounds good. Okay, I want to move on to the next item. The approval of the minutes from December 1st. We're going to move that down the road to approving those on February the 2nd. So we're going to pass that down to next month, if that's okay with everybody. Okay, and that brings us to our first, I believe, and only applicant of the night, and that's PB 36822. That's Home Depot, and that's going to be talking about a minor sign plan.
And just a reminder, you're noticing we're being very particular about the microphones. The recording only picks up if you can hear yourself being recorded on the microphone. So there's a lot of side talk here, but now that we're in the formal part, you're going to want to make sure you're close, ridiculously close to the microphone to be recorded. So
And one more thing, since this is a minor site plan approval, this didn't need to be officially noticed or anything.
Correct, doesn't require notice for minor. But I would still have all your witnesses sworn in anyway.
I'm sorry, Mr. Reagan, what was
I
that?
still would have your witnesses sworn in anyway, just for the record.
We only have one witness, but of
Okay.
course, sure. So while he's setting up, so good evening, Mr. Chairman and members of the board, and Ms. Toulouse and board professionals. My name is Walter Toto. I'm an attorney with an office in Monroe Township, and I'm here on behalf of the Home Depot. The applicant's formal name is the HD Operation Holding Company Incorporated, but known as the Home Depot. Shri, you're all set? Mr. Reagan, do you want to have Mr. Kotawala sworn in now?
Sure. Do you want to raise your right hand? Do you swear that the testimony that you're about to give before this board is the whole truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Okay. And have you given testimony before to this board? Okay. Would you want to give your call?
Yeah, please, just,
I was here for a different purpose. In
yeah,
front of
just
the
sit
board.
down, and if you could provide your references. and
Qualifications, as an engineer.
Give the board your CV.
Yeah, I'm a PE in New Jersey since 1999, and I presented myself as a PE in front of many other boards. And I was here like a few years back when they were developing a project on Old Trenton Road and South Main to talk about the environmental issues there, the wetlands.
Shri, at that time, were you qualified as an expert? civil
No, I
engineer?
was just as an informal meeting. I was here with the landowner.
He's a
with
professional
Stockler,
engineer.
And they were doing
So
it.
how long have you been an engineer?
Since 1998, I'm registered. Yes.
Okay.
We accept their
Okay,
qualifications.
thank you,
All
Mr.
right,
Chairman.
proceed.
Okay, so very briefly, again, Walter Toto on behalf of the applicant. It's a minor site plan. The board has jurisdiction because of the fact it's a minor and no notice is required. What we're seeking is minor site plan approval to permit the construction of an outdoor smoking shelter of 313 square feet on site on existing pavement, so there's no soil disturbance proposed with this application. No variances are requested. The property is known as 61 Station Road. It's Lot 18 in Block 7. It's just over 84 acres, and it's in the Industrial Light Impact Seward Zone, or ILIS zone, and the existing Home Depot is some 770,000 square feet. Mr. Chairman, we have the reports, and members of the board, we have Mr. Ferrando's report from December 23rd. We have Mr. Hoder's report from that same date, and Ms. Laney's report from the 27th of December. We're prepared to address all of those reports, and in fact, we agree with essentially everything contained in those reports. I have one witness, Shri Kotawala, who is our project engineer, who has been sworn in and qualified. Shri, give the board the benefit of the engineering aspects of this application. Thanks.
I'll just give a small version of the photo you see here on board.
So,
Shri, can you mark those A1?
yes, please. You want to say?
You want me to mark one of them and we'll just circulate them?
Yeah, the one that's going to be up there.
Is that A1 that you're giving us
That's
now?
right.
version.
Okay.
Okay, and that's, just
state
say, tell
that.
it what it is. It's a minor site plan for proposed smoking
Yes.
shelter? Okay.
Thanks.
These are copies.
As we can see, to the side, right east station.
Where's Station Road on that?
On 61 station.
Oh,
Where
where's
is the
Station
road?
Road on that? Okay, great, thanks.
There are two entrances actually. One you enter there like this place. Employees, trucks, so they have many employees now. They have many employees.
Could you identify what, could we label that?
Mark that A2, Ms. Strigan, is that fine?
Yes,
It's
it's a drawing of the smoking shelter.
Yes.
Just so that we can orient ourselves, because I can't tell. Can you just tell me what's north, south, east, and west on this? So, yeah, I didn't see where it was. Okay. All right.
It's almost as you're looking at it, it is north.
Thank you.
So we decided that we want to do parking spaces, but there is no common service here. We are much more than. We are not having negative impact. So parking spaces. We are not
So Shri, this is for the exclusive use of Home Depot employees. And the idea is to provide a safer and more comfortable place for employees who choose to smoke outdoors. And how often would it be used, do you think?
They said during daytime, they have a shed.
Okay. So primarily during breaks or change in shift. And another idea is to keep the smoking shelter farther away from the building for those who don't care to breathe in smoke, as it were. And that's one of the reasons, driving its location, correct? Okay. I noticed in the reports, some of the stop bar and some of the crosswalk striping has faded. Are we agreeing to replace that? Okay. Fair enough. So we're obviously we'll stripe it for ADA compliance. We also will have and depressed curb as well. Okay, so it'll be fully ADA compliant. Does the applicant agree to install bollards to the east and the north sides? Okay. With regard to the glazing of the shelter, that was a comment in Mr. Hoder's report. Will the shelter be glazed? So on all sides except the entrance. Okay.
And what is the importance of that? What does that mean, glazing?
Down on that? Reports of glazing.
It's like glare protection?
Shit, yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Very cool. Thank you.
There's no climate control within the shelter, Sri, right? And there are no solar panels proposed on the shelter? Okay.
Despite one being in the rendering.
Correct. That's correct. Yeah, that's nice, right? No, it's not proposed.
Electricity, lighting.
No utilities connected to the shelter. No.
So then it's
Outside
not useful
lighting?
to the night shift that you mentioned.
Sri, what about the existing lighting for the night shift employees? What do we got in that? That So would it be, would a condition, would it be okay if the board, would the board agree, excuse me, to a condition whereby we discuss that with the board engineer going forward, if lighting is required in that location, we would install it?
I think you should show or explain tonight what you want to do as an alternate. I would suggest solar. Why not? Why run wire a couple hundred feet? You've already showed us what the solar would look like.
Correct.
And you can put a couple of LED
I was
solars.
going to say the same thing.
Sure.
You could put very inexpensive solar and LED lighting in there. And
I'm thinking underneath.
Right, exactly.
The building.
right.
And Sri, that's acceptable? Okay.
Yeah,
Sure.
because it won't be for 3 shifts. You'll basically have, at this time of the year, you're going to have 1 shift only because it gets dark at 4:30 in the afternoon.
Right.
So your second shift or your third shift won't be able to use it because they won't be able to see. So
And Sri, there was a discrepancy with regard to the dimensions of the shelter as it relates to the plan and the architectural rendering. The architectural rendering is the one that's accurate, correct? Okay. The architectural controls, okay. Sri, anything further you want to explain to the board? On the assumption that at the time the application was approved, the site plan application, construction of the actual warehouse, the county had conditions, and those conditions were satisfied, of course. Okay, in Mr. Ferranda's report, he mentions potentially utilizing a third space adjacent to the shelter. What's the idea there? What's the proposal?
Parking spaces.
Right.
Parking spaces.
you're going to need 3 spaces.
space, and then for safety. This will be a good slide.
So there would not be an additional handicap spot there, but just additional striping? Okay. Okay. And Sri, with regard to the balance of the comments in the three professionals' reports, is the applicant willing to comply with all of those conditions? Okay. Mr. Chairman, I have nothing further for Mr. Cordova.
Okay, at this point in time, I'd like to hear from our professional. If you want to start off, I looked at Mr. I'm going to start with Mr. Ferranda first, if he would go over any comments. I mean, I kind of looked in particular with respect to a lot of the striping and the ballards and things like that for safety. So if you have any additional questions you'd like to ask.
Sure. I know you talked about the striping in the parking lot, the crosswalk going to the shelter, but there is missing striping also at the access. I'm talking about the driveway in the intersection with Station Road. Crosswalk is missing, stop bar is missing, and I really think this is a good time where you have a striping crew out there just to go out and complete that striping.
That's acceptable. Sure.
You'll
Yeah,
do that.
we'll take care of
So
that.
it would be good to show it on a plan so that we know, everybody knows what they're getting. But it was there before, there's some remnants of it there, so I know you must have some plans or something. If you could make sure that that's shown on this plan so that it can be restriped, and this will be the record copy of that. Other than
That's
that,
fine.
the access is remaining the same, so that's not an issue. Let me see. Americans with Disability Acts requires persons with disabilities to be able to connect between the shelter and the building. Again, you mentioned there's slope in the parking lot.
It's a slope to the east-west.
Okay,
It's not like one side.
right.
Exactly.
The crosswalk path, just make sure that it's not too steep, that it's not up and down. It'll be difficult. Okay.
But I was gonna ask that point, just to clarify, because I thought your exact testimony a minute ago as a handicap parking spot is it's not a good spot for them because someone in a wheelchair could not get from there to the building anyways. Oh, I totally agree that it's not a great spot.
Second thing is there's a slope. Tourist is slope. So what happens is now I have to management someone goes out. So we said, we try to say it's the crosswalk is not there. So we were trying to avoid that situation. Yeah. It requires we can study it.
Okay, because that's what I'm getting at, is if it's too big of a slope for someone to have gotten through a wheelchair in a car than it would be for someone who would be able to for swimming.
So what, that's why, provide the exact definitions. See that.
So the bottom line is it will be ADA compliant all the way through.
Yes, correct.
From the building into the smart station. Okay.
And back again.
And back again.
From the entrance.
Correct.
And now, the striping should be MUTCD compliant. In other words, I think I saw the striping as yellow. MUTCD requires it to be white, so if you could provide a detail, I believe there were other professionals' reports that asked for the detail of the crosswalk as well, but that would be the color, the type of paint, all that information should be provided. You mentioned you'll do the bollards around the building. Make sure the spacing is such that a vehicle can't get in between. And it should provide pedestrian refuge, is what I would call, between the building and the bollards, so that if somebody felt like they had to leave, go outside the shed to talk or get on a phone or something, they could stand outside and still be protected from any vehicle that might be in the parking lot. Down in the parking, you had mentioned you'll give that third parking space and it'll be striped out. We had conversation that maybe that parking space, I suggested maybe a handicap space, not necessarily for access to the building, but access to the shelter, that if somebody at the building wanted to drive over instead of a wheelchair over, that they could park in that parking space. Now, the third parking space will have maybe bollards halfway through, be halfway striped, and then the space can be striped out for handicap. But I understand it may have slope where it drops down to a basin or the grading out there has to be looked at. Okay, in response, but in either case, you'll stripe out the space that's coming out that will have bollards in it, so that space will be protected from anybody getting in there. And should somebody need it with the handicap, they can pull in there and there will be that space available to them. It just wouldn't be compliant, but it would be useful for them to have their vehicle on the side.
Could I ask a question? Sorry. Your report says there's a total of 231 parking spaces that are existing, and the plan says 229. So which is correct? Just so that we,
31 might have been before the two spaces were removed, and 229 is after.
okay, because on his, they say proposed, they say 229 existing, and with the two spaces removed, it's 227. So I just want to make sure that,
It's ready. And utilize the map.
well, 226, I guess, right?
Then
Yeah.
go with that.
226.
Okay, so it's not 231. All right.
Just to make sure the numbers are all
And-
on the
yeah.
plan, it's correct.
Right, because this report
Because I was
says
gonna-
231. It
Exactly.
starts with 231.
I was gonna ask that.
That's
figured
why
out
I
what
asked
it
the
is.
question. Yeah, I
And
just,
what's the, Andy, what's their requirement in
154?
It's 150, it's well, they're well above.
well of it? Okay.
yeah,
Yeah, 70 plus above.
so it's
Just get your numbers
definitely
right.
229.
Okay,
But all of
153.
these numbers should be on the plan.
Right.
Absolutely.
They all
Absolutely,
should be
yes.
on the plan, so that we have a record of what the required parking is and what the proposed is after,
Oh, there it is.
So pre and post.
pre and post. Well, actually, required.
Right,
And
required pre and then post. All right.
Yes,
got it.
so those three numbers should be on there.
Drive share crazy.
I'm the one who has to write it up, you know? So,
Do you have any more questions or comments?
No, that was it, I'm sorry.
Okay, very good. Mr. Hoder, could you have any questions or comments?
Just to say that they did talk about, all of the items, all 4 of the 5 items that I had in mind. They said they'll take care of those items. And I just had one other comment, that this cannot be considered a major stormwater application, therefore there's no requirements in terms of stormwater.
Okay.
Something just popped into my head while I was coughing, I apologize. I had a cold 2 weeks before Christmas. Maybe there should be a trash can located at this shelter. Since it's so far from the building. They'll probably have a cigarette post, but that doesn't show on the plans. To throw those butts in, but maybe also for cups and that type of thing.
Something sort of de minimis, of course not something,
Yeah,
an
just-
enclosure, but something to.
No, just a small can, just maybe one of those, decorative type outdoor garbage cans.
That's acceptable, Mr. Hoder, sure.
That's all I have, sir.
Okay. Ms. Leahy, and next.
One question I have is, where do people smoke now? And is it just open to those?
Sort of a makeshift.
Because the question, the reason I asked is, I sort of assume maybe people want to cars, because I would think in the winter, you'd rather be in your car where you can turn the heat on. And so I'm just curious. But I guess the question is, why do you not want to request to install sort of like heaters in the roof or whatever, so people would use it in the wintertime?
It's a fair question. I don't think they've thought it through all that way. for lack of a more articulate response. I think maintenance, repairs, etc. I think that, and I think smokers are tend to be a hardy bunch, and they'll weather the storm, so to speak.
Maybe you don't want to make it too comfortable.
I think that
Also,
may
they're
be
not
it
meant to be
too.
out there that
I
long.
think that may
They're
be
not,
it too.
they're-
Yeah, you're
this
probably
isn't-
not wrong.
It's not a professional lounge area or lunchroom area. It's a place for people to do what they need to do and get out.
My variation of that question.
Well said.
Is as a practical matter, also non-smoker here, so it's not an experience here, but in the winter, if your choice is just walk out and do it right next to the building or walk like, I don't know, 150 feet or something in 20-degree weather, are they really gonna use it or are they just gonna go right outside the door?
That's gonna be up to the people who own the building right now, who manage the building, to police that. I mean, there's no way for us to determine or stop.
I guess
Whoever's gonna
I'm
do
only bringing it
whatever.
up in the context that they created it to, one of the reasons they stated they created it was to not have secondhand smoke right next to the door. And as a practical matter, if it doesn't work in the winter because it's not needed, will they not have solved that problem?
Psychologically, peer pressure will take root.
Okay, that's fine. It's
No, fair enough. That's a fair question. But, yeah.
Can you describe the entrance to this building? Is the whole eastern wall open? The office? No, to the.
No, of the
The shed.
shed.
Yeah, it's just.
Sure. So the question is whether the entire side is open as opposed to just the.
Well, what makes this, isn't this a building then? It's completely enclosed? There's no openings like at the top or anything like that for ventilation? Isn't there state prohibition against smoking in inside buildings and
I don't know that I would call this a building or necessarily an accessory shelter. I think is more properly defined as, and not a building itself. But sure, you want
if
to
it's
discuss the dimensions? Go ahead.
It's totally enclosed and quickly could put heat in it. Within the state of New Jersey?
No, they say all over the country. I don't know, but definitely, at least a bit of particular, sure that it's so.
It's not the building code, there's
No, as a shelter. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
a state law prohibiting smoking inside the workplace. So it's like just, what's the definition of it? How open does this have to be outside?
Well, there's no door on this, is there?
There's a
Yeah,
door.
yeah.
It's completely enclosed and there's no ventilation, so there's not any way for the smoke to get out. And I can't imagine what that's going to look like in 6 months, 9 months. something
Yeah.
like that.
I would think if that door has to be removed, so be it. That's what makes it a building and converts it into a building. Then I don't disagree with you. Yeah, it would have to be removed. There is, yeah,
there is.
right,
Oh, okay.
correct.
Okay.
It's not totally. That's correct.
It's not apparent.
I'm looking at this, and I'll see.
Yeah. He's reading the plans.
Okay.
Way to
That's
go,
why he's the
Gates.
architect.
I know. Way to go, Gates.
How is there a foundation? The building is anchored.
But we are trying to keep the disturbance below 500 square feet, so we can use others in this way, but in effect, my question.
All right, do we have any more comments from our professionals? No? All
Sorry,
right,
guys.
I'm gonna go around the room then. I'm gonna start with Mr. Stewart. If you have any comments?
Most of them ended up getting raised. I don't think this is a big deal, probably. I'm curious, and this is probably an Andrew question as much as anything, the landscape island that is closest to the shed is a bay or two, a car bay or two inland, all the rest. And it's a multi-part question. I guess the first part is, was that done for some specific traffic-related reason? Because otherwise, it's a really odd choice, since there's just as much road room before it. And I ask about that because if there was some traffic reason, like for turnaround or something like that, are we putting this walkway right in the middle of it?
That's fair.
Isn't that in the employee parking area that's not the truck area?
No, it isn't the truck area. I don't know why it's there, but that's what made me wonder, is it's an odd.
Yeah,
It's
it's a
not
traffic
something-
calming situation, probably.
Yeah, so he's saying that's set back, so is
Like,
that,
why
if
would
that's
you
for
have done that unless
turning,
there was a traffic
if
reason?
that's set back for turning, and you put this
More
right
pavement
here,
usually
that's
means
problem.
there's turning movements going on there. Say if a box truck came in and didn't want to go into the parking space and wanted to turn around, go back out. The width of the circulation aisle certainly is wider there. I don't know if it's dimensioned on the plan. The width, the driveway goes from a certain width.
I would guess approximately 10 feet because it's one bay less.
Right, so it's 10 foot wider than the regular circulation aisle, which the circulation aisle is 30 foot, I believe. So you're up to 40 foot now. That provides a very wide area that you can have a box truck turn around in that area.
So if that was the thinking at a time, do we need to be concerned that the walkway is right through the middle of that?
I don't know that it's a movement that's gonna have a lot of volume. So it would be better if the applicant describes what is going on there. I can only surmise that that wider area is
You'd have
better.
to be guessing.
Yeah, exactly. But you're right, it definitely bumps out in that area. It could also be for turning around that last aisle. If a truck came and wanted to get around that last aisle, rather than running over the island, it's pushed in a little bit so it can turn and go, say, in the north direction. But certainly at the north end of that parking aisle, the island isn't in, so it's not like the trucks are expected to go in that way.
I personally guess is exactly
Turn
that
around.
way from experience, because trucks don't always go the other way.
Yeah.
But second related question, right up until that point, the striping is right up against the edge, so there's sort of a natural psychological tendency to treat it as an extension of the road and drive beside it. Once it's sort of sitting in the middle of the road like that, will behavior of vehicles still be to stay off it, or does that sort of throw people that it's in the middle of the road?
I think a pedestrian will be highly visible at that location, so a vehicle is not coming upon somebody at that location. Even if traffic is traveling in the aisles, say heading south, they would see the pedestrian without any obstruction. I understand what you're saying, you're putting them in the middle of the pavement rather than alongside of something. The distance, it's across the circulation. You're talking maybe 60 to 80 feet, going from that aisle where it's narrower than out to the shelter, where you have the wider pavement. I don't know that there's a lot of volume going on back that way. Most of the parking spaces that will be used are probably the first two rows of parking. Again, they have excess parking. I do not believe that it will be a significant issue based on volume, based on visibility.
All right, well, that's probably good enough for me. One related question, though, just to cover the bases. Is this island currently like just grass, or is it like trees and bushes? You're pointing to it below. I'm saying
No.
the actual,
In the middle.
the bottom.
Yeah.
Well, I'll leave it alone, because otherwise, if it was just grass, I would have argued just run it through the first island and keep it along the edge of the second one, which would have, maybe been better, but not if you have to completely move the landscape.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
as an alternative to what we were talking about, if we took that striped walkway and did bend it over towards that island with the two trees, and ran it straight across to the shelter, it would go to the third parking space that we've been talking about as adding. Then you could rotate the door of the shelter to that side, which might be safer, and have it on the north side than having it on the east side. Just an alternative.
North, not the east, straight, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep, sure.
and that would take them at the
But I
middle of
defer
the
to Ed.
pavement.
Yeah, that's fine. That would work.
But then again, it falls back on your grading. You have to check the grading on that to make sure it's
And
that.
if the grading works, we would comply with that comment, sure.
That sounds like a good suggestion for you to consider. Anything else, Mr. Stewart? Ms. Vaughn, do you have any questions or comments?
Just a couple. First of all, now you know we're a bunch of fixers. We just really like this. Sorry to
We'll
keep
be
you
just
for-
yet till midnight.
No, it's just, sorry, it's what we do. A couple of questions. One, we touched on, is there ventilation, just from a health standpoint, is there? But Mr. Giddings did
Giddings
say
mentioned
there's,
8.5 inches, yeah.
8 inches below, so I'm good with that. Andy, you're not off the hook because I'm just trying to figure out snow plow, snow removal, ice removal. If the bollards are there, can you get in and clear the snow? And that's gotta be hand done.
As with most crosswalks, they may have to use a snow blower or hand shovel.
I'm just
around.
talking about between the bollards and the building, because we said, make sure you can't get through the bollards, and
Right.
Dominic has been good about, giving us that indicator as well, that a car can't drive through them. But what about the distance between the bollards and the actual, I'm gonna call it
Travel
shelter?
aisle.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's gonna have to be hand shoveled.
I think so.
Great, wonderful, okay.
Yep.
That's fine. The trash can, I would, support Mr. Hoder on that. Is there any, when we do these site plans, for the planning board, we always typically have, some type of, I'm gonna say health and wellness, like there's a basketball court, there's there's a place to picnic outside or something. There's some kind of idyllic kind of, if you really want to on a nice day and you've got more than 8 minutes for your break, what you can do. Is there anything for this is, when I originally reviewed this plan, I thought this was for the CDL. I thought this was for the drivers. I thought this was a break place for the drivers. It's obviously being tucked away in the corner for the employees. Is there anything as far as restrooms or smoke areas for the trucks? And that's just a curious question. That is not an application question. Right. Right. Is there anything for the trucks?
No.
No place to go to the bathroom, no place to dump their trash?
Facilities, but not for smoking, of course.
Right. We only ask that question. We get a lot of pushback from residents that truckers
Sure.
drop their trash in the wrong place, they go to the bathroom in the wrong place. And so I'm just, any application we get, I will ask that question to just see what you have, more from a curiosity standpoint to see how we're supporting the trucks. But well, no, wait, we realize it's not on your site because it's on our
Right,
road. So
right,
that's
right.
what we're trying to think through that. But no, Mr. Chair, I have no further questions.
Thank you. Mr. Gallagher, we heard some comments from you before. Do you have any other comments or questions?
No, it's just that, I guess I'm just trying to struggle with what's the workplace inside. And, I didn't, when I was looking before, I was looking at this other photograph. Didn't realize that everything was open underneath. So if everyone's comfortable with that being
Not in a confined space?
And not in conflict with state law.
Okay.
And Mr. Gallagher, I'm happy to work with Ms. Dragan with regard to that issue, whether or not it complies or applies, as the case may be.
Okay.
The board's comfort.
Ms. Jones, do you have any comments or questions?
It's not on Station Road, but on their driveway at the intersection with Station Road. A stop bar. Sure, it's, the driveway has been repaved, the roadway's been repaved, and there's many trucks that have driven over this striping. In the past, when the building building was built, they had a stop bar and they had a crosswalk to connect the sidewalks on either side of the driveway. So this is a pedestrian thing along Station Road, but on that side. So it's missing now, or mostly missing. I went out and checked, and there's some pieces of the stripe. You can see what was there, but it really should be replaced. And this would be the perfect time to do it. You're putting a striping for crosswalk in the parking lot. Striping truck can go out through the driveway as well. And we'll take care of that.
Nope. To use Mr. Horder's suggestion? Okay.
A straight line is usually how people walk, but if you put a zig in it to keep them out of, the middle of the road, and it's not a large, it's only shifting it over a parking space with 10 feet or so, I don't think pedestrians would continue to walk straight based on, a little bit of a zig there. But I think that would work. I think it was a good idea. You pull it across a little bit, get it out of the middle of the road. Again, I don't think that it's a high volume area. Potentially it's used for turning around. Anybody who gets, drops something off at the main entrance and wants to turn around, it's a wider pavement there. Would you like to keep the pedestrians out of the middle of any turning movements? Certainly, and I think it's a good suggestion. Bring it closer to that island and protect the pedestrians, especially if we can lead them to that parking space that's no longer used and have a door on that side. It just makes sense.
Any other further questions or comments? Okay. Mr.
Bless you.
That's Mr. Giddings, but it's okay. We are beating up on you tonight.
Sorry about
So how many maximum employees are at the facility at one time?
Typically, minimum is about 130, but regularly it's about 100.
Okay, so 130, so this lot is at most half full, ever. Okay. Why, I think like everyone else, it seems very odd to have a walkway striped down the driving lane. The driving lane scales out to be only about 24 feet. So you're taking a 4-foot walkway out of a 24-foot driving lane, only leaving you 20 feet. So it's kind of, this is the main entrance for those 120 cars. So it seems really odd. Do you drive on, even if no one's there, do you drive on it? Do you not? Then are you getting too close to the other cars? And going down the center of the driving area seems very odd as well. Why not? You have all these extra spaces. You already have a striped crosswalk further up at the next island to the north. Why not put the facility there where you already have a safe walkway to get to that point, and it just seems much safer and it's already there. Yeah. But if
that's what the intent was, to keep it up.
But if someone gets hurt, that's not a reason why we should approve this circulation. But you never have a walkway parallel to a driving lane in any shopping center. You always have speed bumps, you always have bollards, you always have safety mechanisms. That was a
Right next to the.
No, on the roadway.
On the road, but here, now we have a solid line here, so, right? Just parallel to this line. Just, we can always. Guiding lines, so that.
24 feet at minus 4 feet, so you're down to 20 feet.
Is that enough for 2 cars?
24.
Bill, is that enough for 2 cars to go by one another 20 feet?
It's tight. It's not. 24 is the standard.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So I guess I'm totally for the application, but I'm not buying the argument why it has to be in this location. It seems like you have a half a parking lot that's full, so it doesn't make sense. The location doesn't make sense for safety.
This is what owner was kind of.
But our job is safety.
Sure, sure. I think that'd be more high volume area, Mr. Stewart, to park it closer to that first aisle.
Can I throw out a suggestion?
Yeah, no, fair enough.
There is a crosswalk in the middle of the parking lot. You could put the shed at the far end of the parking lot, but in the middle, and not do any crosswalk.
And not
It's
take
just
the
already
walk,
there.
not take the roadway up.
That's if you just take 3 spaces out near the existing crosswalk. I think that's what they're trying to get at.
Yeah.
I think we can do that. Yeah, that's,
Still have it in the back, but shift it over.
Yeah.
So it'll be on that last aisle, but in the middle of the parking lot, near the existing crosswalk, so I don't have to do that
Right.
striping.
Right.
Yeah, that's what he said he could do.
I think it's going to have to be on the opposite side because you have an inlet, drainage inlet on the south side of that island. So you have to be on the north. Right.
Well, there's there are what.
Which one is there one that usually there's a main area with less?
This is the.
the bump out would be the main
So
area.
actually, if you wanted to consider your much more like false assumption.
So should we accommodate based on what the council just heard, you know what we're doing here?
So we're totally moving it now.
All right.
I told you we'd get there.
Mr. Chairman, I have one comment on that.
Yes.
There's a drainage inlet located
Yeah,
on the
that's
south
right.
side, so you don't want to put it there.
Let's go to the north side.
You
North-
put your
north
drainage
side of that.
washes and stuff. So instead of doing that, put it on the other side, put it on the north side.
Right. Okay.
My only other 3 comments, I guess. One is, I think you do the ventilation for the 8.5 inches down at the bottom, but natural smoke goes up, not
Right.
down. So I would suggest considering gravity, open air gravity vents in the roof, so you get some good cross ventilation. Make it as healthy as possible for the smokers. Second thing is for the lights, if you do lights, some type of motion sensor so that this thing isn't lit up real bright all the time, and the lights are dim or non-existent and then come on only when it's occupied and turn off afterwards.
That's fine.
And then I just want to make sure you are submitting for building permits for this because
Yes.
in terms of foundations and tie downs, all that would cover the building permits.
Agreed.
We're not done yet with comments, so I don't know what's gonna happen by the time we get over here. So.
I'm done.
You're done? Okay.
I have another comment about that crosswalk.
Yes.
It exists, but based on the maintenance of the crosswalk at the entrance, and I'd say restripe it so it's bright. and-
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, so it'll be a new crosswalk, even though it exists there, to put new striping, continue to put the detail and make sure the striping is on the plan for that.
Sure.
Anything else, Mr. Giddings?
Okay.
I don't have any further questions. So these are
It's
these
almost
are.
disappointing.
I appreciate your indulgence in sort of our on the fly design on this, but sometimes fresh eyes give good perspectives on this, and
It's fine, it's welcome.
I recognize it can be frustrating, but I actually think this we usually land in a place that probably will be better in the end. So thank you for your indulgence.
Of course, thank you.
Okay. Miss El-Badawi.
Thank you. I have just a couple of very short questions. You talked about how many people currently are in the building, and we didn't touch upon how many people are currently using it. Do you see that you will, at some point in the future, need to expand the size of this structure to accommodate greater use?
I wouldn't think so. Now, of course, if we did, we'd have to come back before the board. So I think the short answer would be no.
This is what you feel you need. Okay. And I'm just curious because we're all looking at the direction and the location of the structure that's being proposed, and we're all sort of saying it doesn't look right, it doesn't feel right. At any point, did Home Depot maybe consult with these people who are going to be using it? It would be really sad if we built a structure for them that they're not happy with, location-wise or safety-wise or any of that stuff.
It's a good question. We can't answer that affirmatively. However, if there's an uprising, we'll be back before you guys in short order. So yeah.
I'm just reminding you, you did provide testimony earlier that this is the same structure they've used at other Home Depot warehouses.
It is. Yes, that's correct. That remains accurate.
So in other locations, you've had the same structure, but has it ever been laid out the same way through the parking lot like
That's
that?
a tough question. Sri, any idea on that?
I'm sure that every place is different. But for now, this is what they think.
Thank you.
And landlord had also many questions.
Thank you.
Okay.
Sure, I have to say one more thing, I'm sorry. We have to simply make sure that you check to see if the new walk that we're now going to use is ADA accessible.
Okay, I did have a question about the parking spaces, but that was already addressed. Mr. Giddings brought up an excellent point about being cognizant of safety of employees walking to and from this facility. So now that we've established that, we have now moved the facility from where it was to its new location, correct? So do we need to have a whole new set of plans brought before us before we can approve, or can we approve with everything that was talked about this evening? Yeah.
It does.
Okay.
There's simple changes.
I just
It's gonna
wanted
be the
to,
same structure, still
Right.
replaced.
Sure.
Still unpaved things.
right,
The striping will be removed, except it'll be refurbished. It's actually a simpler application.
okay. All right. Everybody feel good about that? Okay. All right, with that being said, I guess we can ask for a motion to, oh, yes, thank you. At this point in time, I'd like to open it up to the public for any comments on this application only. Hearing none, I'm going to close the public comment section of the meeting, and I'm going to ask for somebody to make a motion to approve this with all of the recommendations that were given. I hope somebody is taking copious notes on all of those recommendations.
I'll make a motion to approve as stipulated with changes as noted by Ms. Strahan. How's that?
Can I have a second, please? Okay.
All right, thank
Your
you.
secretary, call the roll, please.
Roll call, Ms. El-Badawi,
Yes.
Mr. Ferrante,
Yes.
Mr. Gallagher,
Yes.
Mr. Giddings,
Yes.
Ms. Jones,
Yes.
Ms. Spahn,
Yes.
Mr. Stewart,
Yes.
and Mr. Whitman.
Yes,
Thank you, motion passed.
Great. Thank you for your time and your comments this evening. We greatly appreciate it.
you're welcome. Thank you very much.
Sure.
No, no,
I
no.
do. You should see some of the boards I appear before.
We
No,
were just a
that-
bunch
this
of
was fine.
cupcakes
This
up
was
here.
fine.
Don't we?
All good, all good. It's a good question.
All
Thank
right,
you
at
again.
at this point in time, I'm going to open it up to the public for comments and questions, not about this application. Hearing no comments from the public, I'm going to close the public portion of the meeting. Do we have any other business, Robin, that we need? All right, can I have a motion to adjourn? And I got a second, I think. All those in favor? Aye, there we go. Thank you, everybody. Happy New Year.
Hey, Wayne, you're pretty good at this, right?
A little rough, yeah. A couple rough moments, but you guys kept me honest.
No, I know.
Remember the building?